Welcome back, friends. My name is Deb Holland, and we are in the middle of a teaching series based on my book, Make Your Destiny Your Reality. And, we are talking right now about finding healthy support and how vitally important this is to making your destiny come true in your life. So, you need to decide for yourself. Basically, there's one question you need to ask yourself when you reach a point where you're encountering some negativity, you're encountering some resistance, and you've got to decide, would you rather look back and be happy and have no regrets that you did pursue your destiny? Or would you rather look back and say other people are happy because you didn't pursue your destiny? Ultimately, there is going to come a point in time where you're going to have to decide if you are more loyal to yourself, to your own future, to your own family, and to the God who created you, or to the people who tell you that you should be just like them and live just like them for the rest of your life. It really comes down to that. And if other people can decide how they want to live, why can't you do the same thing? We all have that right. So, that being said, don't conform to group pressure. Recalibrate your relationships. We've talked about this at length in other videos. I talk about it at length in my book. But the concept basically is, only you know the relationships in your life and what needs to happen to improve them. You are the expert on those. So it's entirely possible that you don't have to cut people out of your life completely, that you can just scale back the time that you spend with them, or you can scale back the influence that you allow them to have over the decisions that you make. You can scale back the information that you share with them so that you don't have to listen to them yakking at you and being negative and putting doubts in your head and all those kinds of things. So, recalibrate relationships. That's a really, really critical concept for you to understand and to implement if you want to make your destiny your reality. It's absolutely essential. Now, dealing with unhealthy social groups, you have to understand something about group dynamics, and you have to understand that within any social group there's kind of a set of norms. Each group has its own culture, if you will, its own dynamics, and some groups are just really negative, and the members spend a lot of time talking about other people. They spend a lot of time complaining. They spend a lot of time making fun of other people, and they just kind of pop off with this or that smart remark, and they really don't care about you beyond how you fit in with them, what you do for them, how you're like them. And they don't want you to rise above them, because then they have to take a good hard look at themselves. So if people are taking a lot of negative shots at you, so to speak, think about their life and think about whether or not they live a life that you can admire, that you can emulate, that you can even just simply basically respect. And understand that when people in unhealthy groups are giving you advice about what to do with your life, there's rarely not a self-serving motive underneath that, because they're trying to subtly pull you back into that group's control. Say, for instance, if you hang out with a bunch of drinking buddies and one day you decide that, alcohol's gotten to be a little bit of a problem in your life, and so you just simply don't want to drink anymore. Oh, they're going to suddenly want to pull you back in. And chances are, if the group is big enough, which could even be just a handful of people, there's going to be someone else in the group who also has a problem with their drinking. So if you go get sober, it means they have to look at themselves and, well, maybe they should get sober too, but they don't want to do that. So instead of looking at themselves, they're going to look at you and say, oh, you're bad. You're bad for wanting to get sober. What are you doing to us? And those types of crazy comments. And those of you that are dealing with this know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you that are not dealing with this and it's just going right over your head, don't worry about it. You're blessed. Enjoy your healthy friendships and enjoy your healthy groups, and don't worry about this aspect of things. But for those of you like myself who have had to go through this, you totally get it. Another thing you have to be very, very, very careful of, and this just seems rampant in our society at the moment, and I don't know if it's because we're kind of in a no-holds-barred atmosphere right now, or if it's just that this stuff has always existed and we didn't know what to call it, or it wasn't talked about much, But we need to talk for a minute in this video series about narcissists and other toxic people. These are people who are way beyond the norm in terms of social groups and even unhealthy social group dynamics. If you picture all people in life existing on a continuum, and the bell curve, the typical bell curve, which can be applied to so many things, and here's a tail, and here's a tail, and here's kind of the big lump in the middle. Most people are going to be here in the middle. We've all got problems, we've all got things we need to improve upon ourselves, but our baseline mental health, our baseline health just as a human being is pretty solid. So we may occasionally do something stupid, or we may occasionally do something amazing. Most of the time we're just right here in the middle and ordinary. And that's good and that's healthy. No one can sustain superior performance forever, and even people who screw up regularly sometimes get it right. So most of us are in the middle most of the time, and that's great. When you're talking about narcissists and other toxic people, you're talking about the negative tail end of the bell curve. Take it out as far as you can possibly see. Those people reside at the extreme far end of the negative tail of the bell curve. Those are the folks that actually want to cause harm, or they enjoy causing harm. And I could teach an entire video series on this alone. But the point for today is that you need to recognize in pursuit of your destiny that when you raise yourself up above the crowd, you're going to become visible. And that visibility can become very uncomfortable. That visibility is going to attract people who will adore you, who will be amazed at what you're doing and want to jump right in and help you. It will also attract people who have an agenda, and a malicious agenda, and those are the ones you need to watch out for. So how do you recognize a narcissist? You go online and Google it. There's a ton of great stuff out there, a ton of teachers other than myself who have covered that topic in depth and covered it extremely well in a very accessible, approachable, reader-friendly, user-friendly, if you will, format. For today, what I want to offer up to you is that as you're pursuing your destiny, if you encounter someone who just consistently causes you chaos and confusion, those are two of the biggest tip-offs that you're dealing with a narcissist. Or someone who, when you're around them, they make you just feel bad, whether it's bad about yourself, bad about your choices, and this goes now way beyond the unhealthy social groups. This is intentional. It has a quality of deliberately attaching themselves to you for their advantage. They are trying to gain an advantage at your expense. In some ways, that's a really rough definition of a narcissist, right? They're interested only in themselves. They don't care about how they hurt others. You need to be extremely careful to not allow narcissists in your world knowingly. And if you're unfortunate enough, like some of us, to have narcissists actually in your family bloodline, that's a tough thing. And that's a relationship that you're especially going to have to work extra hard at to recalibrate so that it's healthy enough for you to function. The other thing you need to avoid is negative naysayers. Sometimes people are really good people. They're solid people. They're in the middle of the bell curve, right? They're healthy. They're good to have in your life. But they tend towards negativity, so they're not part of an unhealthy social group. They're not a narcissist. They're not toxic. They're living their life. They're fulfilling their responsibilities. They're doing what they're supposed to. But their propensity to be negative can really wear you down over time. And if you talk to them at a time when you're vulnerable, when you're fatigued, when you're frustrated, when you're stressed out, trying to make your own goals happen, they can end up just absolutely wiping your feet out from underneath you, and you will just fall flat on your face. So be really careful about people who are just negative in general. And chances are, if they're really negative towards you, they're probably really negative. Period. Pay attention to what they say. And if they're the kind of a person that just sees a negative cast to everything, don't share too much information with them, and don't go see them when you're at a point where you just really need some encouragement, because you're not going to get it. And don't keep offering people who have been unsupportive every time before the chance to be unsupportive about this too. All right. Above all, you need to think for yourself. You need to make your own decisions and choices, and it basically comes down to this, friends. Are you going to be a spectator to other people's dreams all your life? Or are you going to be a full creator of your own? That's the million-dollar question for you to answer. Thanks for joining me today. Come on over to my website, debhollandlcsw.com, link to my Facebook page. I look forward to seeing you guys there, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day.